Only 2 people in the world to have been diagnosed with muscular fibrositis disproportion, a disorder that means her body can't store fat.
While the condition may sound like a dream to some, in reality it's more like a nightmare, and we're joined by Dr. Chris Still as well, and welcome to both of you. Carole, when you were born quite a healthy weight, £5'5", weren't you? But it was quite quickly after that your sort of developmental and your weight gain was slower than normal sort of children and toddlers. And at the age sort of 4 or 5, when you then started to go to school, it became more apparent because I guess there was other comparison of children of your age.
Yeah, found it difficult to walk. I was walking very difficult and everything, all like that, and I just seemed to join. I didn't seem to join in, and I knew I was different than any other children.
Yeah.
It was quite.
How were you treated? How did they treat you?
Some children were very cruel. You know, they stared and pointed and called names, you know, real bad names, and I just felt real lonely, you know.
Well, the problem is that because one of 2 people in the world, if you're going to be in an exclusive club, that is an exclusive club. And I know that the other person is in South Africa, so you would dearly love to make contact with them. Yeah. So if there's anyone who knows that person, then you will try and put you in touch. But because nobody understood it, nobody knew what it was, people thought you were malnourished.
Yeah, well, they said it was a form of malnutrition. Not because I was starved, it was just the food that was going down, wasn't going anywhere, so they put malnutrition, you know, the cause.
And so while they're trying to find some sort of diagnosis, you're undergoing lots of tests, blood tests, bone tests, put on special diets where you've got to eat just sort of rice cakes and rice crackers and
very bland.
Yeah. And it wasn't until you were age 10 that finally you were given a diagnosis.
Yeah, muscular fibrositis disproportion, yeah.
People would think, well, at least I've got a name for this now, and great, right, where's the treatment? What do I take? Give me a pill, what do I take? But of course, that's not the case with this, is it?
Anything, they just had lots of tests and they all come back, you know, positive, normal.
Yeah.
And there's nothing they could do, apart from just keep doing test after test. And
well, also the terrifying thing is that you're told that we're lucky to survive to 15.
15.
And then you got to 15 and then you're told, oh, lucky to survive to 21. Well, I can't imagine what that must be like, wondering whether or not, you know, is today the day?
I just lived day by day. My mum and dad were devastated. You know, they didn't know what to do. I think we just tried to carry on as well as we could, really.
And how does it affect you day by day? I mean, eating-wise, sort of on a normal day, do you eat regularly, same as anyone?
Yeah, I eat lots, you know, big portions of food, and I get really tired. You know, I get tired now, climbing stairs, walking, just little day-to-day things. When I do the cooking at home, I have to sit in my chair, put the cooker, because my legs get really, you know, sore.
And against all the odds, because the doctor said that it would be highly unlikely for you to be able to have children, you did. You met your lovely partner, and he's Stephen, isn't he? And then in 1982 you had Mark, and then in 83 you had Neil. And so for you that must have been such a wonderful shock.
Brilliant, really good. I really enjoyed it. I think I was about 6 months pregnant when I found out from that, the first one. They said it was a water infection.
So you were 6 months until you found out? Yeah. Gosh, so were you not showing any sort of signs of pregnancy?
No.
Where on earth was he?
Hiding in there?
There's nowhere to hide at all.
I did no blood pressure, nothing at all.
My goodness, you suddenly from 6 months, 3 months later, there's a baby there. That's remarkable. Thank goodness.
And Chris, you say that you've never heard of this before.
No, never heard of it. Well, of course, you know, an NHS GP wouldn't. There are only 2 cases in the world. Most specialists would never have heard about it. But you have to give it to them, and they came to this diagnosis. And before Carole and I came on, I was asking her all sorts of questions. Have you had these hormone tests done, these scans done? She's had everything done, everything. And there's nothing pointing to really any diagnosis, and they've probably come to this as eliminating everything else. But yet the pregnancy is fascinating because you had 2 normal weight babies Yeah, and you only put on, what, about a pound?
About a pound each
Well, you were
time.
6 stone at your peak, weren't you, of pregnancy? Am I right? About
Yeah,
6
just under
stone.
6 stone, yeah.
And yet a mum and dad are normal, two sisters and a
one
brother,
brother.
normal. So there's nothing in the family to indicate, you know, this sort of disorder.
And I guess the difference for you as now an adult and a mum and a wife is that the difference from when you were younger, when you were sort of nursery and school and kids could be very cruel. And we know there are people out there like this, but even now people stare and make your life pretty difficult, don't they?
Sometimes, I mean, I've had one incident when I was shopping and a lady took a photograph of me on a mobile phone. So
Yeah,
I did approach her.
Good,
And she
good.
said no, and it's only when her mum said she did take it, but she deleted it.
So you would rather, I assume, that if someone had a question, that they actually asked you about it.
I wish they would come up to me and ask me.
But maybe there, I mean, you would. If I saw you, I would think, oh my goodness me, you know, there has to be an eating disorder. You know,
A lot of people say that.
I'm sure.
Yeah, a lot of
So people
people.
perhaps are worried of coming up and discussing it with you.
Yeah, they do.
What about your ongoing health issues? Does it have any other implications in your life?
Apart from the osteoporosis now, I've got rheumatoid arthritis.
And that's what prevented you. You had to give up the nursery teacher's job.
Yeah. I love that job.
Yeah, and Chris, you look like you wanted to say something else then.
Sorry?
You look like you wanted to say something else.
Yes, I mean, the osteoporosis, of course, is, you know, Carole is not absorbing, you know, all nutrients, calcium and vitamin D, and so she's catching osteoporosis earlier than a woman who would be facing it maybe after the menopause. And a weakness and tiredness, if you don't mind, Carole, I mean, she has no fat, you see. Fat is your body's store of energy, so she hasn't got that battery of energy, so she gets tired easily. And you've got a bit of arthritis as well, Carole, yeah. But, you know, still, I mean, you consider what your body's gone through.
Yeah.
You're really on very good.
Well, I
health,
hope
aren't
you managed to touch base with the other lady in South Africa. I mean, that would be incredible for you to just sit and tell your story to somebody that knows exactly what you're going through and what, you know.
And do you eat anything, or are you actually careful with what you eat?
I eat anything.
Yeah.
Anything. Like the takeaways.
Good gracious. Yeah. Well, I mean, you've paid a very high price for that, obviously, and as Holly says, I do hope that the lady coming on here today has managed to put you in touch with that other lady. Thank you. For
Thank
coming
you
in.
both.
Thank you, Chris.
Thank you very much. Thank you.